Good evening. Welcome to the Mancuni Way. We're here to talk all about Arsenal versus Manchester City, the big game on New Year's Day, and what a way to kick off 2022. The battle of the informed teams. I can't wait for this one. What do you think, Rich?
I actually think in recent weeks, Arsenal have been playing some of the best football outside Manchester City in the Premier League, and I've got some really good form going. I think the one huge gap for Arsenal has been their inability to play against the top sides. So I think the Arsenal fans are chomping at the bit for a big game. They quite fancy themselves, and they're up against the best team in the country. So I think I'm excited. I think it's got some real interesting stories in it.
Well, like I said, I think we're on a 10-game winning run. They're on a 5-game winning run. We've not conceded a lot. They've conceded, I think they've only conceded one goal in the last 4 or 5. So defence is on top. But, I mean, I think this is going to be a completely different game to Brentford. Because Arsenal will allow us to play our game. Whereas Brentford didn't want to do it. Like we said, the grass was long. They were pushing us. They were pulling us. You're not going to get that with Arsenal. Just not going to get it. You're going to get the space. You're going to get the time on the ball. So for me, this is a better game for us than I think it is for Arsenal, personally, anyway.
Yeah, I think they play some wonderful passing football now. They move the ball, all parts of the pitch, they go really wide. They're passing, they're crisp. So I think it should make for a good game. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can play the way they do with our press and our physicality. Because to me, they're great at doing what they do against not very good sides. But when they play the top sides, they just don't have the personality, the strength, the aggressiveness that the real top sides do. So I'm going to be interested to see whether Arsenal can play the way they're capable of against us, or whether we completely negate that and then control the game. But they will let us play. They're not going to stick 7 across the back. They're not going to be fouling us, because they're one of the few teams who, in a way, I think we're probably bigger and stronger than, which is not the case most sides.
No, I mean, you say that. They did beat Rob's team, West Ham, 2-0. They went and beat...
I told you, Martin, I don't support West Ham anymore because I don't support failure. Now, we're playing Arsenal on Saturday. There are 3 key things you've got to look at, and you can answer these after I've stated them. The first one, in 2021, almost 2022, in fact, it will be 2022 when we play them, how much does it matter that Arteta won't be on the touchline? He'll have still been on iPads, tablets, he'll be watching training sessions, he'll be passing on instructions and all the rest of it. But how much of an effect does that have on the game? Secondly, Rodri's missing. What's that going to mean for Manchester City? And the third one is, how much will the 5-0 defeat that we inflicted upon them earlier in the season matter for this game? I think it's a completely different Arsenal team that we'll be facing, mentality-wise. The players might be relatively the same, but the mentality is completely shifted at Arsenal. So what do you think of those 3 gentlemen?
Well, you just said there, the Arteta one. See, I go back. Do you remember we played, I think it was Lyon in the Champions League, and we had no Pep, and Arteta took the team, and we did look a little bit out of shape, out of form with it on that night. So it all depends whether is he going to do what Eddie Howe did and do it from his home on the phone, or we don't know how it's going to be done. We really don't. With the Rodri situation, that worries me, because it means Fernandinho's playing 3 games in a week. And,
do you think he will? Or do you think... I suspect...
I think Gundogan. I'm calling it now, Gundogan. I'm calling Gundogan right now.
Will play at the base of the midfield, I reckon. I don't reckon he's going to play Fernandinho.
Now, obviously, some people have just said in the chat there, what's up with Rodders? Obviously, we don't know conclusively whether he's playing or not, but as it stands, as far as I'm aware, he's out because of COVID. as it stands. So things may change for Saturday. Would I want to put a player straight back into a game after having COVID? I'm not too sure myself, but yeah, I think Gundogan for this one, Martin, as opposed to Fernandinho. Maybe a combination of the two. Maybe a double pivot, which you know how we feel about that, but I don't think that Fernandinho is the guy for this game on Saturday. I think that Pep Guardiola knows that as well, and I do think that he will try some sort of double pivot between Gundogan and Bernardo or Gundogan and Fernandinho. He's not going to solely allow Fernandinho to have reign on his own.
And I think the fact we didn't use any substitutes really at Brentford told me that Sterling and Mahrez and Gundogan are all going to be playing. And I think Gundogan playing at the base. I think Mahrez and Sterling come in. I think Foden will get another game. But I do think they're going to make some changes. I don't think Ferner can do it.
One of the interesting things, Rich, I think Cancelo, given that Kyle Walker's still potentially out due to bereavement, back in training is one thing and playing on the Saturday is a different thing. I think, does Nathan Ake play himself into this team considering his efforts the other night at left back and Cancelo at right back again? What do you think?
I wouldn't be adverse to that at all.
If Walker doesn't play, yes, because I think Ake can offer what Walker does and effectively become 3 centre-backs or 3 defenders whilst Cancelo pushes up. So if Walker doesn't play, I would play Ake again. But if Walker's fit, obviously I'd play Walker and Cancelo. And the other thing that Ake really noticed against Brentford was his ability in set pieces. He's really strong. He's very good in the air. He's not the tallest, but he's very good in the air. And I think he will be very useful in games where we think there's going to be any aerial threat. But I'm not sure that Arsenal is that team.
I think at the other end of the pitch, as we like to adopt the mantra of let teams worry about us in possession as opposed to us worrying about them, Sterling and Mahrez surely have got to come back in for this. Mahrez off to the AFCON soon. Might as well utilise him while we can. And Raheem Sterling because he's Raheem Sterling and he's been prolific recently.
So that means obviously that'll probably be Sterling on the left, Mahrez on the right.
Probably, yeah.
Foden
in the middle.
Does De Bruyne play in the middle? Because we all touted De Bruyne the other week as De Bruyne's back. But is he back?
I think De Bruyne will start with Bernardo and Gundogan in midfield.
Mate, so we're going. You're going to play Gundogan as the CDM.
Yep.
Say you play Bernardo.
Yep. And De Bruyne.
So who's your false 9? Are you doing Foden on the left and
No,
Sterling
I'm false 9. He's our best finisher.
I think Charlie in the chat's nailed it. Really, it's going to be difficult to predict the lineup, and that's partly because of we don't know who's in, who's out, COVID wise. We don't know who's in, who's out, injury wise, and it's a completely. I just hate to keep stressing this point that it is not the Arsenal team that we pummeled at the Etihad a couple of months ago. It's not the team that we're facing on Saturday.
And they're firing.
They are firing, Martin, but I think Chris said it a couple of minutes ago. Arteta is a very vocal coach from the sideline, and his presence. This Arsenal team, Martin, it's a relatively young Arsenal team, and it does draw inspiration from Arteta. He is a very good man manager, and his absence could play heavily on this Arsenal team on Saturday. I don't think we're not going to walk it. It's not going to be a 6-0, a 5-0, or a 4-0. I think it could be a 2-1. Relatively close, but I do think we will win, just because we have that X factor that Arsenal don't yet possess. In 2 or 3 years' time, different conversation. But right now, Arsenal are still a work in progress. They're not a finished article.
Yeah, and it's one of our hardest games left, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, they've got Smith Rowe, they've got who's the other one? The Norwegian lad signed from Real Madrid. Yeah, his name's just gone completely out of my head. Odegaard. They've got, thankfully, they've got some internal issues with Aubameyang, and he's the only one who's been allowed to go to the AFCON early and meet up with his team, Gabon.
But aren't they having
Still-
some internal troubles with him anyway? Don't you think that's
Yes,
part
I
of the
think
reason
that's why
he's
he's been
there?
allowed to go early. He has been allowed to go because I don't think he was ever going to play anyway. So for me, and Aubameyang is their second top goal scorer. So, him not being there is good. It's a positive for me, him not being there. Because I think, I always worry when we get a fast striker. And it's going to be interesting to see what defensive we're going to play. Because we don't know what's going on with Stones there.
No, I think you can rule. Unfortunately, I think you can rule Stones out for a little while yet, Martin.
I'd love Stones and Diaz to be playing. And Laporte's done that wrong, especially yesterday. Was it yesterday? I can't remember. I'm losing track of days now with all these games and Christmas. But, Laporte for me, do you know what? I'm going to say something about outrageous here now. Would you ever do a Laporte-Stones combination?
Statistically, it's the weakest of the options.
I know. I'm just thinking, Diaz will give him a little bit of a rest because there are this little.
Diaz ain't that man. Diaz ain't that guy, Martin. Diaz ain't that guy. Diaz is not the guy that you need to rest.
Possibly.
He'll kick your front door down if you ever even insinuate that he needs a rest. He's not that guy, Martin.
But listen, that's not me digging out Diaz. I'm just okay. I mean, I think it will be a completely different game, and Arsenal have to definitely. They're losing a lot of players with the AFCON. A lot of players. They're losing Thomas Partey. They're losing El Nana. They're losing. Who's the other one they're losing? Aubameyang they've lost, and the other guy's gone out of my head now. Pepe.
Chris Baker. Don't be a naughty boy, Chris Baker. John Stones is our best centre half. I will be proven right by the end of the career. So don't start your waffle, mate. Listen, right, Arsenal on Saturday. It's an early kick-off. And it's our... How much break do we have after this game as well? Isn't there like a little bit of a...
No, we've got 6 days because then we've got...
No, that's what I'm saying though, Martin. 6 days, considering it's football every other frigging day recently.
That's a bit of a rest.
6 days is a good little...
I mean,
buffer.
Well, apparently they were going to stay down in London yesterday, but they haven't done. They have brought them back. And I think, Pep wanted to give them a little bit of time off because I think they'll be travelling down to... I don't know when they're travelling down to London.
What, for the Swindon game? Well, don't forget, on the coach, they'll have to navigate 500 roundabouts, so that'll take them about 7 or 8 hours. Then they'll want to get settled in after that as well. I don't know, I just think that this weekend, by the way, is going to be an absolute crackers weekend for the Premier League, right? Chelsea and Liverpool game.
Oh, that's going to be great.
City, Arsenal and Chelsea, Liverpool, a lot about the title is going to get decided this weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a huge weekend. I mean, if, for example, City win and Liverpool lose, that is a massive impact on the Premier League for the rest of the season.
Well, we discussed
City lose and
Liverpool
Liverpool win. City lose and Liverpool win, is a world apart.
Well, we discussed off air before, Rich, that if Chelsea win, there will be closer in points to us, but we're not worried about them because Chelsea aren't the team that can string together 10, 15 games without losing.
Yeah.
If Liverpool win, we are slightly worried again because we know that they are capable of doing the 10, 15 games without losing. So,
yeah.
As impartial as I can be, I would love Chelsea to win. I don't think they will, though, but I'd love Chelsea to win.
Chelsea are in a little bit of issues at the minute, aren't they?
And the other thing is if Chelsea win, we can turn around 2 weeks later and put them back in their place.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we can stop, if Chelsea win, we can stop their momentum straight away. Whereas if Liverpool beat Chelsea, especially it being away, that's going to be a big result. And then it's quite a while till we're playing them. So they can go and build a run off the back of that in a way that, obviously if Chelsea beat Liverpool and then they came to the Etihad and beat us, that might change. But I definitely would like a draw or a Chelsea win in that game.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing about the Saturday game for us, by the way, to get back to the Arsenal fixture, I think it's a game that can be won and lost on the team sheet by Pep Guardiola. I really am interested to see what he does in the middle of the park. If it's Ilkay Gundogan, then that means that Bernardo has to play more defensively. If it's Ilkay Gundogan and Fernandinho, I think I actually do favour the idea of Ilkay Gundogan and Fernandinho. However, that would make us less potent. If Ilkay Gundogan's more reserved, because Ilkay Gundogan, we all know, as an 8 or a 10, Ilkay Gundogan is better going forward than he is defensively. There's no dispute about that. So a more reserved Ilkay Gundogan could weaken our attack. And they are quite. I mean, their goalkeeper has been pulling off some absolute,
well, I was about to say
Manuel Neuer-esque saves all season, hasn't he? So
you look at Ramsdale.
Could be a frustrating game but
one thing not to forget though is in our running in 19, when we won those 14 games to pick Liverpool, Gundogan played a lot of that time. Fernandinho was out for a lot of that time, and Gundogan played in the base of the midfield. So when he's doing that regularly, he can do it well. When he did it as a one-off against Chelsea in the Champions League final, it was a bit of a disaster, but he can do that role. There's no question. It's just whether we've got the right players around him. And for me, I think we discussed this earlier as well, that if we are playing Gundogan there, we are going to have Walker or Ake playing, because we're going to have one of our fullbacks as a real strong defender who can effectively play as a back three. I've seen in the chat as well that they're saying that Cancelo's been robbed and assaulted, and that that might put him. No.
This is why, ladies and gentlemen, we have a rule on this channel where the
ignore the chat,
don't go into the chat.
Let Rob deal with the chat.
Yeah.
Naughty.
But I think we have to play Ake or Walker, because we have to have a defender who can make a back three with Laporte and Diaz, and that is going to be really necessary if we're playing Gundogan, because Gundogan isn't going to be filling the gaps like Rodri does. Fernandinho can't fill the gaps like Rodri does. So I think we need to play Ake or Walker if he's fit.
I'll tell you what, if Ake
probably
doesn't
Ake
play,
based on yesterday.
If Ake doesn't play, and trust me, don't rule that out. Don't think, he had man of the match, Pep won't drop him. I've seen Mahrez do man of the match performances and then get dropped for 2 games. So it is like Pep can do that. So I hope Ake plays and we don't do something. Because to me, on the back of that performance, he needs the momentum. Keep it going. Because I thought Ake was tremendous. I really did. Thought it was his best game in a blue shirt for us.
Yeah, and he's good he's bloody good in the air. He really strengthens us defensively from a corner. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons he played against Brentford was Pep saw the Liverpool game and how dominant Brentford were aerially and got a couple of goals. And they've done it in a few other games. And I think Ake was played partly because Pep felt that he would give us that extra solidity.
Well, the one thing what could define this game as well, yes, Arsenal are on a very good run, but we know that players can turn toxic in a second at the Emirates. If you get an early goal in that game, you could get that game won early.
And that's happened really in the last few games. Last few times we've played Arsenal, we've had like 5'6" players jumping up at the back post and getting goals. And I think, was it Gundogan in one game and Sterling in the other? We've got really early goals. So there's no doubt if we can do that, dampen that sort of New Year's Day atmosphere a bit, because it'll be, it's never a great atmosphere at Arsenal, but first of the year, against City is going to be as good as it gets down there. So it'll be important to try and put a bit of a dampener on their fans and on their momentum early.
Yeah. I know our Arsenal cut the grass. It'll be like a bowling green. It'll be lovely to play.
As Robert just said in the chat there, Arsenal like to play us. They like to play like we play. They are a BTEC version of us, but they're still, they're competent.
And that could be at their detriment.
Well, yeah, it suits us, Martin, because if you put it this way, if you like to play like us, then you like playing like us because we play like us. And the fact of the matter is, we invented playing like us.
It's a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
And we're better at being us than you're better at being us. So, yeah, I'm fine with it.
You know, I've got to. The thing is, I think this will be a rip-roaring 5-0 win? No, I don't. I think this will be a really entertaining game. Really looking forward to doing the watch along. I think it will be a cracker. What a way to kick off 2022. Because it's two footballing teams that want to play football with the correct philosophy, the right way. And that's what I like to see. The ball on the deck, playing it with your players that know how to do it. You know, for me, Arsenal's biggest threat will probably be down the wings. Because I think I saw a stat earlier. It was either Thomas Partey or Pepe. One of them's got, I think it was Pepe, who's got like the most assists, the second most goals, or the most goals. Smith Rowe's going to be a danger. So they have got pacer, tricky little players that will cause problems. And we've got to make sure that we are attacking them down the flanks and it will stop them.
Yeah.
Because there's one way, if we're attacking them, they'll stop doing that. So we've just got to nullify Arsenal, get the goal early, get that crowd toxic, get them going, and bang, get in the reds early. We've got to get in the reds.
I think the other question is, you know, without Arteta there to organise, are there any others of their coach? You know, I'm not close enough to Arsenal to really know, has he got a strong deputy? Has he got someone who can really step in when he's away? Are there other coaches who aren't available? Because if he's COVID positive, then, you know, the chances are that the people he works with tactically and they sit in a tactics room together might well be COVID positive as well. So, you know, I think there's a big difference between a manager being away and the strong deputy comes in, takes over, and all the other coaches are there. And what happens if 3 or 4 other coaches are away and, you know, I don't know about his deputy.
Well, apparently, I did see about an hour ago before we came live that Arsenal have not requested the game to be called off as of yet.
Yeah.
That's all it said, as of yet. So whether they do, I don't know. Because apparently it's not just Arteta who's out with COVID. It might be some of his backroom stuff as well. And I've just checked, by the way, it is on their assist stats. They've got Pepe and Saka both at over 80% pass accuracy. The chances. Saka's created over 30 chances for them.
Saka's a great player, Martin. I told you why I wanted to sign him.
Now, that's what I mean. We're going to have to deal with their flanks.
No, Martin, you're wrong. They're going to have to deal with us because they're not going to be able to get...
That's what I mean, but that's
they
how
have
we
to
should
get...
do.
Martin, for us to worry about them, they have to get possession of the ball. Simple as. But just by the way, I have seen pictures of Cancelo with a paper cut on his left eye. I'm hoping that he's more manly than that. It's very unfortunate that he's been attacked. I'm not going to.
Is that true then?
Potentially, it's true, but it seriously looks like a paper cut above his eye. I'm not going to give the old, well, he shouldn't have been wearing a short skirt on a night out if he didn't want to get touched up by Alan Howarth debate, but Premier League footballers do wear more jewellery than Jimmy Savile, and perhaps they should be a bit more reserved when they live in Cheshire. I hope he and his family are okay, though.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so devastating that footballers have to go through this. Charlie, the thing about the difference between you, me and footballers is, Charlie, when we get attacked in the street, we miss 6 weeks of work, get into debt and go into the poorhouse. When footballers get attacked in the street, they've got shitloads of insurance and millions to fall back on. Should they get attacked more than we get attacked? No. Of course they shouldn't. Nobody should get attacked. But Charlie, think of the common man before you think of a Premier League footballer, mate.
Well, listen, all the best to him. I hope him and his family are well, like Robert's just said. We'll see. That may change the lineup on Saturday. We don't know. He may feel that he doesn't want to.
It is kind of strange,
frame
though.
of mind to play.
Isn't it usually Liverpool fans that attack their own team members and rob their houses?
Yeah, when they're away from home.
Yeah, anyway, so that's the Arsenal pre-match. It was probably a bunch of waffle and a load of nonsense. Rich got involved in the comments, so he's on a naughty boy warning.
What do you want to do? You want to do score prediction? We're throwing score predictions.
I mean, I said 2-1, but I'm not really bothered about it. If you want to give a score prediction, go nuts. But whatever.
I'm gonna go 3-1, but it'll be like 2-1 up until the last minute, and we'll get one away on the break while they're trying to get the equaliser.
I'm going to actually go for 1-0 City.
Fair enough. Right, well, join us on Saturday for the watch-along to prove us right or wrong. And we hope that João Cancelo's eyebrow recovers before then. Bye, everyone.
And have a lovely new year, everyone.
Yeah, and enjoy the rest of 2021. And let's hope that 2022...
Happy New Year to anyone
Let's hope that 2022 is a better year all around for all Premier League footballers who suffer from paper cuts and the third of the population that's going to food banks. See you all in 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Bye for now.